be aware, a lot of gurus that are fake and broke do this all the time. You do not want to deal with this type of person. Ask the cash buyer, can you please provide me, Mr. Cash Buyer, a proof of funds? How many houses they bought in the past 12 months? How many deals they bought from wholesalers in the past year? My ultimate step-by-step dispositions guide for cash buyers in wholesaling real estate. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I want to give you a complete breakdown on the entire step-by-step process for finding cash buyers and dispoing your deals in wholesaling real estate. Guys, this is like a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 mini master course class today in this video, where I'm just gonna break down everything from the start to finish guide on finding cash buyers, selling these deals for the best price possible, and most importantly, so you know how to actually sell your deals for the most amount of money the easiest way possible. Before we break it down, do me a big favor, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. So the first thing we have to understand before we break down cash buyers and how they work in wholesaling real estate is the wholesaling process. Now remember, I'm gonna give a quick gist of the wholesaling process, but it's pretty much us looking for people that wanna sell their ugly looking house, putting the property under contract, then selling that contract for a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 profit. So when we talk about the dispositions and the cash buyer side of things, we're not locking up deals or marketing. We already have a property under contract. We're looking to sell that contract for an assignment fee. And who actually pays our assignment fee? So I put the property under contract, let's say for $100,000, and I go to a cash buyer and they agree to buy the property for $115,000. That means when I assign it, when I give them for the cash buyer's dispositions process, at closing, the cash buyer will give $115,000 to the title company, $100,000 goes to the seller that we agreed to, and then we get a nice big fat $15,000 check for wholesaling real estate. Now let's explain exactly what is a cash buyer. A cash buyer is somebody that's looking to buy a property for cash, pretty much due to one or two reasons. Most of the time they're looking to buy the property, make a profit, or just to make some money. So either by buying the property, renting it out, or buying it and doing a fix and flip on it. Now a cash buyer is exactly what the name implies. They are looking to buy properties for cash, preferably from a wholesaler so we can make a nice assignment fee. Now the next question here is, what isn't a cash buyer? A cash buyer is somebody that buys the property for cash. So if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I'm a cash buyer, and they're using hard money or they're using a loan to buy the property, that is not a cash buyer. That is a hard money buyer. We do not want to deal with a hard money buyer. We want to deal with a cash buyer. A cash buyer must have all their funds ready to buy the property right now. So the next question here is how to find cash buyers. Now, finding cash buyers is really not as complicated as everybody seems. Everyone charges all these crazy courses and masterminds how to find cash buyers, but it's pretty simple. Remember, your cash buyers are either looking to buy a property to fix and flip it, or to buy a property and rent it out. So if you know why they want to buy the property and the reasonings, we can just reverse engineer it and find a cash buyer from there. So number one, most cash buyers are looking to buy the property to fix and flip it to make a quick profit. So where would I find a list of these type of people? Well, number one, this is really the easiest one to do, and this is just cold calling the cash sales. So if you go to a service like listrei.com, aka PropStream, you can actually pull a list of every single cash transaction in your area. So it seems like in the past month, maybe PropStream will say 40 people bought houses under $500,000 for completely for cash. And you can actually pull this list, skip trace them, get their phone numbers, and just call them up, see if these people are looking to buy any more properties from cash, explain you're a wholesaler, voila, you found a cash buyer. Now you might get a list of people that just want to buy their own personal home cash, but that's okay. You're also gonna find some people looking to buy rental properties like this too. Number two here, maybe you don't want to pay for PropStream or you can't afford it. There's also a lot of other great free options. So my second one here is just Facebook groups. If you go to your local Facebook real estate investing group, you're gonna find a ton of cash buyers here. The issue here is you're gonna find a lot of fake cash buyers too. So be very wary and careful when you're doing this. For example, if I live in Fresno, California, or I'm wholesaling virtually in Fresno, California, and I want to find cash buyers in Fresno, I'm going to go to the Fresno Real Estate Investing Association Facebook group and look for cash buyers. There's two ways to do it, guys. You just go to freewholesaling.com. I'll show you exactly what to do. But most of the time you just make a post looking to sell some deals at really deep discounts. Go contact me or comment below if you're a cash buyer. Remember that ad copy is at freewholesaling.com. It's absolutely amazing to use. Or what you do is just go to the little search bar in the group. And when you're in the search bar, just search at gmail.com and people are just gonna be dropping emails. Cold email these people and you'll be really good to go. On top of that, look for posts in the group there's gonna be a ton of people posting, hey, where are my cash buyers at? Go to the comments of those, and you might see an Eduardo Sanchez say, hey, I'm buying more properties, or hey, I bought in 5 this year, I'm looking to buy 5 more. Go click the guy's profile, DM him, slide in the DMs, and have him buy your properties for cash. This is a very effective strategy. Number 3 here, guys, this is the auctions list. You can literally get a list of people that are buying properties at auctions, preferably your local property tax auctions, people that are buying deals that are delinquent of taxes. You can also go to these auctions in person, and remember, if there's 50 people bidding on a property to buy it cash, only one person's gonna win that bidding war, which means there's gonna be 49 people there sad that didn't buy a property that have all this cash already vetted through the auction company. So there's private auctions and then public ones. Go to both of them. I'm telling you guys, they're usually during the weekends, but if you can find a property being auctioned off on a mortgage, on a foreclosure, or a tax delinquent sale, there's gonna be a bunch of people, guys and gals, bidding on properties that have all the cash, that's already bidding on it. They put, hey, I'll buy it for this price. And you go talk to these people outside the courtroom or outside the government building and put them into your cash buyers list. This is an extremely underrated strategy that'll help you out so much. Now, to add on top of that, if you're at the auctions, there's also gonna be realtors there bidding for their clients. And these realtors are gonna be bidding to buy the property cash on behalf of their client, which means that realtor has a solid connection of people looking to buy properties for cash. And you can add them to your cash buyers list, which means you can bring the deal to the realtor if they're okay with you wholesaling it, and they will sell it to their network of clients looking to buy more properties for cash. So this is also number 4, using realtors. Now, I think realtors and wholesalers are quote unquote enemies sometimes, it might seem, but really you can actually go out here and use realtors to be your cash buyers on behalf of their clients who are cash buyers, and it works really, really well. All you gotta do is go to like realtor.com or zillow.com and go by the solds of ugly looking properties, usually properties selling between $1,000 and $200,000, and look at the buyer's agents to these investment deals. So just scroll by the sold properties, look for the ugliest type of houses you can or duplexes, go to the buyer's agent tab, which is their phone number, call them up and ask these realtors if they have any more clients looking to buy more properties for cash. And if they do, explain you're a wholesaler, explain the wholesaling process, and then vet them and make sure they are legit. So you might be asking me, Zach, if I find a person that's claiming to be a cash buyer, what questions do I ask them so I know I'm not being played or scammed? There's a lot of cash buyer scammers out here are actually scamming people, and there's a lot of wholesalers scamming and saying they're cash buyers, daisy chaining and ruining deals. So if you ask these 6 specific questions, it's almost guaranteed you're not gonna get scammed on a real estate wholesaling deal, and you have the best chance possible of getting a really good cash buyer. But these aren't suggestions to ask. These are questions you must ask. Question number 1, can you please provide me, Mr. Cash Buyer, a proof of funds? Now, a proof of funds is basically proof, an actual bank statement showing that this cash buyer actually has the money in their bank account ready to buy our deal for cash. So if I put a property under contract for $100,000 and I'm looking to sell it to them for $115,000, you better have $115,000 in that bank account ready to go to buy the property cash. If I see 50 or 60 grand, I know you're probably getting a loan and it's not a good deal. Now be aware, a lot of gurus that are fake and broke do this all the time. They'll say, here's my proof of funds. It's a line of credit from Mr. Guru Industries LLC of up to $500,000 of funding to buy any deal for cash. You do not want to deal with this type of person. They are getting a loan to buy the property. And if they're getting a loan to buy the property, that means they have to go through underwriting, they have to get approval from the guru, and they might just want to deny it, and then you lose out on the entire deal. They'll lock up that assignment of contract from you, and the entire deal is ruined. You do not want to be doing this. Make sure they actually have the cash in their bank account. Number 2, explain wholesaling real estate to the cash buyer, and just make sure they're comfortable with that entire process. If the cash buyer is comfortable with you wholesaling it, should be good to go. Some cash buyers aren't, so just avoid them. Number 3, you have to ask the cash buyer if they are okay with you making an assignment fee. A lot of cash buyers don't like that, but most of them don't really care. As long as they're buying the property for the price that you agree to sell it for, you're all good to go. Number 4, ask the cash buyer if they're okay with using my title company, basically your title company, for the transaction. Basically, what you gotta ask the cash buyer right here is if they're okay with using my title company for the assignment of contract and for the closing of the deal. This is a must. They have to use your title company. If you use the cash buyer's title company, that title company might not be okay with you doing an assignment of contract, and that'll ruin your deal. Number 5, this is a very important question to ask. Ask the cash buyer how many houses they bought in the past 12 months for cash. So how many properties for cash have you bought in the past year? If your cash buyer hasn't shown that they bought more than one house the last year for cash, they're probably not a good cash buyer. We want to see somebody buying at least 2, 3, 4+ deals every single year for cash to prove that they actually have experience buying these houses. On top of that, ask the cash buyer how many deals they've bought from wholesalers in the past year. This will show you their experience level with the wholesaling real estate process. Number 6, this is the last and most important question, and one a lot of people aren't asking, but they need to be asking. Mr. Cash Buyer, are you okay with me making over $100,000 on this assignment deal? So I sold it for you for $115,000 and I locked it up for $15,000. Would you be okay with me making over $100,000 on this assignment if I gave it to you for $115,000? If the cash buyer says, no, I'm not comfortable with you making that much money, do not go with that cash buyer. Most cash buyers, when you set that up front, they're okay with you making any assignment fee. Now, the next part here is really sending your deal to the cash buyer. Just know this is all about relationships. Build relationships with your cash buyers. These are people. These are not robots that are looking to buy things. These are not dollar bills. These are actual people. If you build relationships with your cash buyers, when it comes to sending the deals to the cash buyers, the entire process will go so much more smoothly. So if I have a deal under contract, I'm gonna call the cash buyer up and send them the deal while I'm over the phone. Do not just blindly text or email somebody a deal. Call them up, make it personal. There is some salesmanship needed for selling these deals. Now, lastly, this is super duper important for you guys when it comes to selling your deals to cash buyers, but the cash buyer has to decide themselves if they want to buy the deal. You cannot show them comps and try to convince them or coerce them into buying the deal. If you're selling a $5 gallon of ice cream at the grocery store, is there a salesman there trying to push you of why you have to get the vanilla ice cream over the other brand? No, it's there, it's $5. Do you want it or do you not? You cannot show people what the value of the ice cream is and all this crazy stuff. You're not going to convince the person. They need to make the decision if that price is good for them or not. Maybe give them a push, like, hey, I'm talking to a lot of other cash buyers. This is our price. If it's good, contact me. If it's not, just let me know. But I'm getting a lot of activity on this. So if you don't want to buy it, I'm just going to sell this deal to somebody else. Put a little bit of urgency with the cash buyer, but you're not going to go convince them. I see so many wholesalers trying to convince somebody why they need to buy the property. It's the deal of a lifetime. Guys, that's not going to convince the cash buyer to buy it. It's if they think it's a deal or not. Now, this comes back to the walkthrough, guys. I've talked about the walkthrough a lot here, but really, if you're dealing with a property, call the cash buyer up. They want to buy the deal. Make sure they're good upfront with the price. Go meet them at the property. Make sure they walk through the property. It really shouldn't be more than 5-10 minutes. Make sure the cash buyer does not talk to the seller. Maybe if they do, just a little conversation. Introduce the seller to the cash buyer as your partner on this transaction. And that's pretty much all the introduction you have to do. Walk through, you should be good to go. Same thing with the virtual walkthrough process, right? So if you have a boots on the ground, a runner, if you want to go find them, just go to a Facebook group or a Gigs group or a Craigslist group and have them walk the cash buyer through. Make sure the runner that's showing property with the cash buyer explains that this is Zach's partner on the deal. And you tell the cash buyer they shouldn't talk to the seller or anything like that too much. You should be good to go. From there, if you're doing this in person, meet the cash buyer at a secondary location, give them the assignment of contract, have them sign it, make sure they agree to a $2,000 or $3,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit, send that assignment of contract to the title company, and then make sure the cash buyer sends the EMD to the title company, and you're A-okay, ready to go. A lot of people are so scared to tell the cash buyer on the assignment of contract how much they're making on the deal because they feel like the cash buyer is going to get out of the deal. The cash buyer is going to figure out what you have it under contract for. It's going to be on the HUDs. Real estate wholesaling is a legitimate transaction, and this is just how this business works. Now, the last thing you have to understand about cash buyers is usually the more properties they buy every single year, the least they're willing to pay for an assignment deal. So I have a cash buyer tier system that I use to figure out how much a cash buyer is going to buy the property for. It's really into 5 distinct categories. The lowest tier that'll pay the least, I call these the slumlords. They buy over 50 deals a year, usually for rentals. They do a lot of Section 8s. They pay the least. Next here, we have what I call high-level flippers, where they buy a lot of deals, usually over 20 homes a year. They pay a little more. Then you got the median home flippers. They buy 5 to 10 properties a year and flip those. And then you got people that pay really a lot. These are what I call the mom and pop flippers. Maybe they flip 1 to 4 homes a year. They pay a lot. And who pays the most, I call these cash buyers the fresh out of the seminar cash buyers. These people just got out of a seminar how to flip houses. They'll pay you the most for it, and they're the best type of cash buyers to pull. Ultimately, guys and gals, if you use these strategies, you'll effectively be able to find the best cash buyers, sell it for the most amount of money, and most importantly, make the entire cash buyer and disposition process the easiest it can possibly be. If you want to download my free contracts and see exactly step-by-step on actually how I pull cash buyers, find them, and sell them, just go to my free real estate wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, and you'll get started on your wholesaling real estate journey. And again, if you got any value from this video, do me a big favor. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one.